Black women have emerged as the key voting bloc for the Democratic Party, and yet the issues impacting us most are rarely at the center of campaigns or platforms. We have shown that Black women are passionate citizens, courageous leaders, and strategic visionaries on the forefront of the battles for our more perfect union. Now, before you Gina Rodriguez or All Lives Matter me, yes, many groups are influential in politics and everyone is essential in our democratic process. However, in this here video, I'm talking specifically about Black women, how they showed up and how they continue to show out in the political process, in the past, in the present, and most likely in the future, outperforming their racial and gender counterparts. We started this decade with record turnout for the first Black president. Some begged Oprah to save us all, and we all witnessed a number of historic elections at the local, state, and national level. Let's take a look back at the expansion of Black women's political influence in the 2010s. Obama earned election in 2008 and 2012 thanks to the Black women who voted at a higher rate than any other demographic group. In 2012, more than 70% of Black women cast their ballots, outvoting Black men, and white women by large margins. Not only did they have the highest turnout, they also voted most consistently, with 96% voting to re-elect President Obama. It should be noted that Black women submitted a total of 11.4 million nearly unanimous votes in the 2012 election, where President Obama only won by 4.9 million votes. It was the first time in history that Black turnout rates exceeded that of white voters. In 2016, Black women solidified their position as a reliable segment of support for the Democratic Party when they yet again voted in dramatically greater numbers than white counterparts for Hillary Clinton. 94% of Black women voted for Hillary Clinton. From politicians and celebrities to businesswomen and more, women united across the nation to mobilize and secure the popular vote. There were actually more Black women working on Hillary Clinton's campaign than any other presidential campaign in history at that time. And while the campaign failed to resonate with some voters, many eventually came around with #Girl, I guess I'm with her. In 2017, Black women showed dedicated party allegiance and secured important wins for the Democratic Party. In the gubernatorial battle in Virginia for Ralph Northam, in New Jersey for Democrat Phil Murphy. And how could we forget the sigh of relief Black women offered the country when they used their votes in Alabama to stop accused child molester Roy Moore from acquiring a seat in the U.S. Senate. 98% of Black women voted for Democrat Doug Jones, while 63% of white women were willing to overlook the sexual misconduct allegations from teenagers. In 2017, about 24 Black women political figures signed a letter to the DNC stating that they were tired of being taken for granted. While we asked for more from the DNC, we also took measures into our own hands, seeing a number of historic runs in 2017 and 2018. Andrea Jenkins, the first openly transgender Black woman elected to office, won her Minneapolis City Council race. Yvonne Spicer became the first mayor in the 317-year history of Framingham, Massachusetts. Vi Lyles became the first Black female mayor of Charlotte. Simone Askew became the first Black woman to be first captain of the U.S. Military Academy's Corps of Cadets. Elisha Renee Hall became Dallas's first Black woman police chief. Mary Parham Copeland became the first Black mayor of Milledgeville, Georgia. Letitia James became the first Black woman to be elected to position of New York Attorney General. Lucy Macbeth flipped a seat in Georgia that had been Republican for nearly 4 decades. Johanna Hayes became the first Black member of Congress to represent Connecticut. Lauren Underwood became the youngest person and only person of color to ever represent her Illinois district, while Juliana Stratton became the first African American woman elected to serve as lieutenant governor in Illinois. Ayanna Pressley overthrew a 10-term Democratic incumbent and became the first Black member of Congress to represent Massachusetts, while Rachel Rollins became Massachusetts' first black district attorney. Ilhan Omar became the first Somali American woman in Congress. And in Houston, a group of 19 black women dubbed Harris County Black Girl Magic all won election to judgeships in Texas. Fortunately, the list goes on. According to the crowdsourced Black Women in Politics database, at least 468 black women ran for political office in 2018. Imagine, in 2009, there were only 14 black women in Congress. In 2018, 25 black women joined the largest female cohort in Congress. That's almost double in a decade. We are out here, proving that black women are viable and electable, community-oriented political candidates at every single level. And while every campaign does not end an election, we're still seeing success from the fruits of our labor. Stacey Abrams, for instance, represented so much with her 2018 gubernatorial race in Georgia. She was unapologetic about fairness and justice, inspired people from all over the country, and advanced conversations around education, criminal justice reform, and healthcare. She continues to advocate for voting rights for all. Black women are using their voices, moving the needle forward on everything from reproductive rights to impeachment, drawing attention to the issues that matter most to us. Our involvement in the political process has led to national attention with hashtags like #TrustBlackWomen and #BlackWomenVote. We are standing on the shoulders of Fannie Lou Hamer, Shirley Chisholm, Anita Hill, and the countless unnamed black women who paved the way in the suffrage fight, in the civil rights movement, and in our homes. There's no time or space for ambiguity about where we stand, because when our democracy falls, it impacts the most vulnerable first, and we know that we're not going to be exempt. We demand our party reflect and prioritize those who sow into it. We need for specific and intentional initiatives from the Democratic Party that will benefit everyone, but will be overwhelmingly felt by the African American community. Forget the obligatory shout-outs during debates and congratulatory tweets when we win. We demand meaningful action now.
When black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to die in connection with childbirth in America, when the sons of black women will die because of gun violence more than any other cause of death, when black women make 61 cents on the dollar as compared to all women who tragically make 80 cents on the dollar, the question has to be, where you been and what are you gonna do?
We routinely accomplish the seemingly impossible for you by unseating incumbents, turning longtime red states blue, and electing and then re-electing the first black president. Every time we're called to our civic duty, we do so without delay or hesitation. We know our value to the Democratic Party, to society, and most importantly, to ourselves. So I ask you, what's your excuse?